Hi Lion, hi Empire. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hey folks, here is Sam I Am. Welcome to the show. Why I am a better YouTuber than iPinky7? Because I'm making a show. I have no clue and I make you believe I do. That was basically the answer to the first question I want to cover today. Hello everyone, let's get started. I do have some plan today. First, I have no financial interests, I have no sponsored links, and I don't want no donations, please. Now, today we will cover a few questions I have received on Twitter. I didn't have a plan what to cover today, and I asked around, like I tweeted, and I got a few questions, and I wanna get those covered first. Sonja ist schon live, meine Frau. Ja, zu ihr komme ich dann auch noch. Also, die erste Frage habe ich, the first question I have answered. Why is Sam I Am a better YouTuber than me? Because he's making a great show, even though he doesn't have a clue about what he's actually telling, but he makes everyone believes he does. Then I got a question regarding DTCs November rollout. If I believe that they will be that they will use XRP for their settlement. Darren Moore has made quite some good research regarding that, and I think eventually they will use XRP for settlement because there is basically no other alternative, right? However, for securities to be settled, I mean, there we are talking also a trillion market. The price is nowhere near high enough. So, November rollout, I do not think so yet. However, telling from the research Darren Moore did, I'm pretty sure they're kind of ready to rock and roll. to show. Next question, Swift market share. When we will be able to cover 5 to 10%? I'm pretty sure that RippleNet covers that today already. With Nostros, not with XRP, with the existing Nostros system via Xcurrent. Maybe some of the banks are using ILP already. In the webcast from Brit Talk, which was in September 2017, one of the guys in the presentation told that already over 100 banks are using ILP. So in terms of volume, I think we would be there. Then there was a question regarding consensus about that statement from Brad Garlinghouse that in 2020 we will reach a volume from 1 billion. I guess the overall consensus in that special live stream I did last Friday was that it was totally fake. I mean, most agreed that Brad would never tell such a volume figure, same as he never tells any expectations about XRP price or so. He's usually very conservative in his statements. Next question, why no SPI volume? I believe the real SPI for the retail investors is still not live yet. I think this order book we see is from SPI VC Pro for pro users, same as Coinbase has. Coinbase I think has even 3 platforms. Coinbase, something else, and Coinbase Pro. I think one is Coinbase Custody or something, where institutional like big banks could buy crypto and keep it under custody of Coinbase. So that's the reason. I cannot believe that there is no volume coming, pending the fact that it was live already. I have seen actually Crypto Eerie, I think not in the latest but in the last but one video, she was showing a chart about Japan, and actually let me write that down. I think I could post that link to Japanese crypto holdings site, and on that site you could actually see that I don't know, about 52% of the cryptos being held is XRP, with the value of almost $1 trillion. And if I'm not wrong, not a trillion, a billion, sorry, a billion, trillion, I think. No, I think it was a billion, because I calculated down to, right now we're at about 30 cents. Let's assume that more or less maybe the average of most people holding XRP, that'll give us roughly 300 million. But by a proposed an estimated client base of over, I think, 23 million Japanese customers from the SPI consortium banks, I'm pretty sure we will see around 2 million additional investors. And if all these will buy 5 to 10,000 XRP, that'll dwarf what they reportedly hold on that page right now. Next question. Did Ripple really rely on CoinMarketCap for trading volume? I mean, on what else would you rely? I mean, basically it's the exchanges themselves which exchange data. I mean, otherwise you would basically need to gather the data from each and every exchange, but that's kind of a service the exchanges do. I mean, I know it sounds a bit stupid, but obviously, I mean, errors occur. Then I got a question, which are the influences on XRP price? Is it retail investors? Is it institutions? Is it regulation? Is it bots, market makers, news? And to which extent each? I have no clue. I'm sure that utility will bring the largest price increase. What was the root cause of those 2 or 3 spikes we had? I think it was 3 spikes. One was obviously end of 2017 when it went to $3 and something. And then we had, I think, shortly before swell, 2-3 weeks before swell in 2018, we had a spike where I think it went almost to 90 cents or so, 80 something. And then I think this year, we had another short spike where it then dropped quickly after, and I literally have no clue why it did a spike, and also not why it dropped. Maybe we can cover that, why it dropped, why on the question why the price isn't rising. However, some people I am in contact and actually which I trust that they have a little bit a better gut feeling in those things, they suggest that the 3 spikes we had could have been XRapid tests. If that's true, I really have no clue. My history, next question. I should talk something about my history, my hopes and dreams. My history, I've been working in IT for about 20 years now. I did study economics when I was 20, but I failed in the second exam. So basically I started working as a programmer thereafter. I however did a bachelor, I then later on did my bachelor degree in economics and IT. It's like a mix between IT and economics. Like, how can a business implement certain IT solutions in order to improve efficiency and stuff like that. And those studies I did on the side of actually working. I was working 60% and did those studies during 4 years. I started 2010 and ended 2014 with my bachelor degree. With crypto, I was first in contact through my colleagues in my department where I work. They were like in 2017, I don't know, starting early summer, they were always talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and other coins which were quite popular at that time. And first it was for me like, please stop it, I really don't want to know about it, because I couldn't imagine, and I still today cannot imagine why someone would want virtual money. I mean, I'm totally happy with my credit card, with my, like most of the time I use Apple Pay for the smaller pay, even bigger payments actually it works. I think I also in Austria paid already with Apple Pay. like in Switzerland, they have these near field terminals now where you can put your call it debit card next to it, and if the value is below 40 bucks, 40 Swiss francs, then you do not even need to enter a code for the debit card. And the same system actually is in all the places accepting Apple Pay, and that's what I'm using. So I really don't know why anyone would want virtual currency. My hopes regarding XRP is to become freaking rich and help people in need. Family, mostly family of my wife. Few family members of my own family. Dreams, the most important dream came true in 2013 when I got to know my wife. It was actually quite a funny story, and we got to know each other on the internet. I spoke some Portuguese, and she was visiting her daughter here in Switzerland, and I realized that she didn't speak German nor English, and her daughter kind of left her at home while she was working, and Sonia, my now wife, couldn't even leave the house because she couldn't order a bus ticket or ask for directions. Then, because I spoke Portuguese, I offered her to do 2 or 3 trips together with her, so she could come out a little bit. And I mean, no interest from my side for anything else than just to be a good company for her. But the time we spent, we really had a good time, and I I fell in love and realized that really she is the real love of my life. She is a few years older than me, but that doesn't really matter. Other than that, I hope that we all stay healthy. That's something really important. I also had some bad experience with health, kind of almost 20 years back, but that's old story. Now, I mean, as always, if you're not happy with my answer or have further questions, please put comments in the video. Casinocoin. I mean, basically, Casinocoin is kind of like I wouldn't call it fork, because basically it's a copy of the Genesis ledger of XRP, and it's just renamed to Casinocoin, but it's basically the same thing. It's the same technology. As I said it before already, I understand the concept why a casino would want people to pay with a digital currency, but I really don't see I don't see a need for that. I can always pay with my credit or debit card, so invest in Casinocoin, but I personally don't see why that coin would rise in price. I mean, really, I have no idea. Then next question was thoughts on financial crisis. Will adoption prevent this crisis? I'm pretty sure, because lots of liquidity will be set free, like trillions, and I'm pretty sure that will help the next, like, kind of prevent the next financial crisis. And I'm not so into these how are those theories called? Those not subversive, conspiracy theories. I'm not so into conspiracy theories, but I'm pretty sure Christine Lagarde and the whole IMF teams team knows that ILP and XRP could be a savior. Now, another question, qualifications that supplement my knowledge. Well, I told you before about my education. I have been working in IT, so basically from the technical perspective, I think I'm quite savvy. I programmed with encryption systems in the past myself, so basically I know the concept, how it works. I couldn't create my own encryption algorithm, no, but for that other people have enough knowledge about that. For me it's important to know, to understand the concept, how it works. When it comes to my logic about markets, I mean, I'm trying to learn. When I'm interested in something, I usually do a lot of research, and like in XRP, the kind of environment where we're in is a complex environment. We're all thinking it's just payments, but there is a whole lot more behind that. I mentioned before this setting free of this liquidity. That's one thing. I mean, then with a real-time gross settlement system, you need to manage your daily liquidity in a different way than you did manage your liquidity in the past. In the past, you managed maybe the next week or 3-4 days in the future, but not for today or maybe this hour. So it's actually really more complicated than what most people think. Then one question was just the word X-Pool. I think in the latest PDFs, regarding RippleNet, they actually, I don't remember if it was called X-Pool or just Liquidity Pool, but they have a pool in the middle, and that's also an idea from some more knowledgeable people in the community who think maybe it's just a huge pool of fiat and XRP where whom needs what he needs can take and obviously pay for it, either in XRP if he needs fiat and the other way around. Maybe it's something like that. Telling by the fact that they only mentioned that once or twice and didn't never talk about it thereafter, I'm really not sure if it's still something they plan to do or if it's such a high strategic position that they cannot talk. Next question was route to mass adoption. Maybe a word about mass adoption. I mean, I'm really hoping that in the meantime all my followers know my Superhighway theory, where basically Ripple has started talking to software companies who produce banking software and system integrators who put those banking softwares into the banks, and they started those partnerships in 2015. Most have been signed as kind of in a contract early 2016. However, that's not what I'm talking about, mass adoption. That's like the freeway for the mass amount of payments. But for me, mass adoption means that I can send Chinu Patel here in the live stream via the chat you're in now, that I could send him some money in, I don't know where he's from, China or whatever. That that's for me mass adoption, that I can use any channel where I can send a message today that I also can send value in the future. For me, that's mass adoption, and that will take a while. That's why this ILP mass adoption slide goes to 2025, but I'm sure we will get there. But first, it needs ILP and RippleNet. They need to scale. That's unless really like the whole world is not connected for payments via the, let's say, the traditional, not, don't get me wrong, the traditional, and I say traditional rails, I don't mean SWIFT, I mean the banking system as such, even if the banks are using RippleNet or ILP. But mass adoption to me would mean that maybe you have kind of like, I don't know, an electronic wallet, which is money not in a bank, which is money maybe on a blockchain or something, from where you can deposit further fiat or be it central bank digital currency or whatever, and then you can use that for your daily expensive. That's for me mass adoption. Price forecasts 2019. I don't do price forecasts. I say if we reach 5 to 10% of the SWIFT volume, and that volume will be handled via XRP, then we need 4 digits. Right. Secret of the Universe and something about dwarfs, 42. I hope you get the joke. About the dwarfs, I don't know the secret. Why isn't the price of XRP rising? Most think it's kind of held down. That may not be possible anymore unless you really bring high amounts of XRP and of fiat once the price has risen. I'm really hoping that the exchanges will be, that the crypto exchanges will be regulated in the same way traditional stock exchanges are regulated, because there, as example, spoof and was trading is illegal and will be tracked. I think Citibank, I think it was 2017 if I remember properly, had to pay about 25 million fine because they were accused, and actually it was proven that they had been doing wash-up spoof trading. Crypto taxes, that's a very interesting topic. However, I can only talk about that for my Swiss followers, and for my Swiss followers I did a video already where I explained it. In Switzerland we pay wealth tax, not income tax. Wealth tax is pro mil, also 100th or a tenth basically of a percent, and it rises exponentially up to a value of 15 million wealth, and then it just stays the same. So if I have wealth 15 million or 50 million or 500 million, I always pay 2.5 pro mil, also a fifth of a percent roughly. Actually, I think, yeah. And that's basically nothing. It's like for 15 million it would be a little bit less than 40,000 Swiss francs. However, I would have to pay that every year. How it's in your country, I really don't know. In Switzerland, we also, it's plain simple. I just need to tell the tax department how many crypto I held on 31st 31st of December in the particular year for which I'm paying taxes. Effects of escrow on XRP in the coming years. Interestingly, I went through my bookmarks today and I found a tweet from David Schwartz. Basically, Ripple themselves, they say it in the quarterly report also, that they sell less than 1%. I think it was even less than 0.25% in average of the volume of the trading volume of XRP. In that tweet I found from David Schwartz, I think, if I remember properly, he said that the escrow and OTC sales from Ripple did have an effect of 0.2 cents, not dollar, cents or less, and that's literally not much, and I'm pretty sure it'll stay that way. Reduction of OTC sales, best scenario. I mean, basically I said it before, escrow and OTC. I never did, and I think I will never do believe that the OTC sales did influence XRP price. And just for those who didn't see my video about that, if you count Bitcoins in terms of Satoshis and XRP in terms of drops, there will only ever be 50 times more drops than Satoshis. Telling by that we could easily be at $300 already. And don't tell me that we're being like pressed down by OTC sales from $300 to 30 cents. That's simply something I will not believe. Then the next question, ILP, what is it? And for this I actually have prepared something. Let me make my camera big. So these are protocols. I hope you can see it. Each one is different, right? Each serves in a different country, for a different voltage, for a different purpose, but all suck electricity, okay? And that's basically a protocol, so I cannot really show it to you. In Switzerland, it's roughly that protocol here. It's not really that's the German one, but the Swiss one looks rather similar. It's a bit thinner, just those two plugs are a bit thinner. Another protocol could be that each car has gas, I think, brake, clutch, is it? Or gas, clutch, brake. We have an automatic car, I don't even remember. But imagine it would be different in each car. You wouldn't even know how to drive a car. That's an unwritten protocol. The car manufacturers obey an unwritten protocol. Basically, they could flip those pedals, but it would confuse a new driver totally. I mean, it would be really dangerous. That's why they all stick to that protocol. Now, in terms of Internet of Value, what ILP does is basically the same what IP does for the Internet. When you call my YouTube channel to watch a video from me, basically you're receiving data packages from the YouTube web server. Where those packages are routed, you have no clue. Could be that each packet is routed through different paths. Usually it won't, but theoretically it could be that there is one router going down and then it needs to be rerouted through another path, and that's basically how IP works. On the end, on your side, on the browser, all those packets are kind of put together again, and the image and sound and the video is being created out of those little packages. And in a similar way, basically ILP is working. ILP is just a standard definition, like a power plug, how you can consume power in a particular country. In the same way, ILP defines how you can send money or value, actually it's value, it's not money, it's value, to someone who adheres to the same protocol. So if two entities both talk ILP, they can exchange value. That's basically it. Telling by that, I think I will do another video. I have 2 links in today's live stream about ILP, but when I was quickly checking those videos, I wasn't really happy with what it's very confusing what I'm talking there. So most likely on the weekend I will try to do another video like the big picture I made last weekend. I will make a video more directly targeted to this Internet of Value thing, how ILP plays a role, how XRP plays a role, what connectors are and stuff. And I think that'll be also quite an interesting video for most of you. Then what liquidity is required for the big banks? Huge. I have talked about that in a video where I analyzed transaction data for Target 2 in Europe. Now I got many questions from users when in Target 2 they only use euros and will never use XRP, why I took those figures, because it's the only figures I could get my hands on, and I'm pretty sure those figures can be extrapolated to SWIFT and other systems where you can make cross-border payments with. In this Target 2 analysis, actually in the video not, because this insight I got later on, but I figured in Target 2 they have 200 over 1 billion payments per day. That means every 8 minutes a payment over more than 1 billion value in euro is being transacted. That's freaking lot. Now if you think, you have to know that XRapid transactions and also in the future ILP transactions go via one connector. So that one connector, or today XRapid installation, usually it's an exchange, will have to have XRP in the amount of that 1 billion ready. Okay, so that's basically liquidity. Now if you check on Ledger Exposed, you can see that most exchanges do have between 500 million and 1.5 billion XRP. Now let's assume we have 10% of this market, so not every 8 minutes but every 1.5 hours such a transaction comes through. That basically would mean that every 1.5 hours all XRP on that exchange is gone when it's $1 because the value of the transaction is 1 billion and there is 1 billion XRP on that exchange. But what I also showed in that analysis is that every 3 to 4 seconds a 50 million transaction goes through the system. What do you do with those? Can they not be delivered after that, like the few seconds after that 1 billion transaction has gone through the system? That's because that can never happen. The price needs to rise. If they really want to transact payments in the hundreds of millions, XRP price needs to be 4 digits. There is simply no way around. How much XRP volume for price increase? I have no clue. I mean, I basically just talked about what liquidity is. The volume we are seeing today is basically speculation. I know that in these 3 spikes we have seen end of 2017, I think before swell 2018, and I think early this year, that the volume usually was a bit more than 1 billion. I think in the spike 2017, I think it was close to 4 billion on some of the days. But now when we come back to this transaction analysis of target 2, that can happen every 1.5 hours with one transaction at 10% of the market. So yeah. And now I'm basically done with my stuff. Now we will go through the questions. I will scroll up in the chat. Most say hello, hello, hello. I have said hello to everyone. Where's your beer? Today no beer. Last time it made me tired. I have financial interest. Well, I also do have financial interest, but not from you, from myself. Vicken has a question. If Ripple says that banks are adapting new technology slowly, why is the superhighway theory a yes if everything goes as Ripple says slowly? Vicken, that's actually basically the superhighway is the answer to your question. Ripple built their software in a way that it can be kind of plugged into the software from those other banking software providers. Temenos, CGI, Task Group. In the past few days, IM Legion was tweeting a lot about Volante with Volpay. Then there is lots of others. But Task Group, CGI, Temenos, and Finastra, those 4 alone cover about 70% of the banking market software. And by putting the RippleNet kind of plugin into those softwares, those banks are kind of like almost ready. You just need to convince them to actually use XRP. But recently, in I don't know, maybe the past 5-6 months, we heard some of the Ripple officials kind of in interviews telling that banks who would, or financial institutions who didn't want to touch digital assets a year ago are now coming back. I mean, what they wanted was X-current, that there they saw the price savings and stuff, but the digital asset XRP was too risky for them. But now they're coming back and actually asking to know more about that. So I'm pretty sure that will require some time. However, in another thing which is important, Vicken, is there is always, like, there is even a name for that curve. There is a special curve. We learned it in my studies, I forgot the name. Usually each distribution has a special curve, and in the same way, basically, I would say projects go. Usually they start slow, and then there is a huge upwards trend, and like everyone jumps on board, like in those spikes with the XRP price. It starts slowly, and the higher it goes, the faster it goes, because everyone jumps on board and also wants to participate in this price increase, and that's why the price can go really steep and fast. And the same will happen with this ILP. In the ILP symposium, I think it was, I don't know, April, May, I think it was somewhere in Netherlands, if I remember properly, a guy from Ripple, because those Ripple people are kind of leading part of those ILP developers, so to speak. He gave, and I don't remember if it was Evan Schwartz. Don't nail me, I really don't remember. Anyway, the guy told that by the end of this year they want to have 1,000 nodes on ILP. And Swift has about 11,000 financial institutions. Now, if the 1,400 credit unions in US count as one, I don't know. So those details I really don't know. But this is roughly how you can imagine it'll going. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're now on the cusp. This slow increase we have already passed. In the coming 6 months or so, this increase will come. And as soon as the price of XRP is high enough, we will for sure see that volume. And also something I always told, Ripple is not a public company, it's a private company. They have no... they are not obligated to disclose any customer. They're doing that just to keep us quiet. I really don't know. They wouldn't even need to do that. And I'm pretty sure even on RippleNet directly there is more than 1,500 banks already. Those 4 companies, I repeat, CGI, Task Group, Temenos and Finastra, they have like together 500,000 employees. If just 1% or less of this 500,000 is taking care of banking business, we have like how do you say in English, a manifold, like several times the manpower Ripple has. And if Ripple has covered 300 customers since 2016, you can be sure that those 4 other banks have covered an additional 1,500 banks. I'm pretty sure about that. Shane Ellis is not here. No, probably not. Tisbol, I know you like to say Sam isn't right, but to be fair, nothing you have said have been proven correct yet. Well, basically the only thing I'm telling, which is a theory, is Shane Ellis, that's right. But the figures I'm talking about, that figures I'm 100% sure will happen that way once we really have that volume. I literally have no doubt about that. But even though I agree with you, it's just a theory. However, Sam talks about stuff where he really has no idea. I recently saw a video of him where he was kind of tearing apart an interview from a guy with the CEO of Quant. And Sam was talking on the video as the CEO of Quant has no clue what he's actually talking about. As if the CEO of a company has no clue what his company is doing. I mean, and he didn't get Overledger right. And I mean, that's a clear fact which I can prove. Also the private XRP ledger thing. That's everyone who has 5 cents for 5 cents brain knows it'll not work like that. Because it's just contradictory to the very base concept of DLT. We can this 1700 by the end of the year. I mean, I think anything between 1700 and 5000 is possible. Maybe it's 1200, but what it really needs is this 5 to 10% of Swift volume. If Ripple cannot convince banks until then to actually use the digital asset XRP, then we have to wait longer, obviously. But I'm really hoping that they're holding on their promise. Casinocoin is a no-brainer. Chinu Patel, I think I mentioned it before, I don't think SBI VC for retail investors is live yet. I think it's the pro version. I really don't know. Slim Shady, do you have an idea on SSL offloading? SSL offloading? Are we talking about HTTPS SSL? This SSL? I'm Slim Shady, I don't know what you refer to with SSL offloading. Oops. Hold on, I'm scrolling down. Actually, I have lip to cottage distribution. What's that? If the price were to go to 4 digits, how long would it take someone with 25,000 XRP to cash out Lime? Not long. Actually, in one of my, I think I made a video, or was it in a live stream? I think it was in a live stream. I will make a note, Liam, but I'm pretty sure video or live stream put link to the cash out video on description. In that video or live stream I showed in a table, as I'm usually doing, that if we're on, like, I mean, Galgitron tells that even at $100 we would have like 85,000 new millionaires, and that even that money wouldn't be available yet. In the figures I show, and with data I took from Ripple's documentation they have on their site, which show cost for the current system, it's 1.7 trillion worldwide, year over year. And I think with those, hold on, I need to 85,000 times 10,000. So in the calculation of Galgitron, it would need 850 million to pay out 85,000 XRP holders when the price of XRP is at 100, so that they're getting million. And Galgitron says that's not possible. And I show that the cost of the system is I don't know, about 200 times that size. So at $1,000 it's possible, and trust me, not everyone will cash out. What was your name? Liam something. Evie. There. So basically, I have checked it on eToro, on the platform I'm having my investments, and I had them check for $500 and $5,000, and they said no problem. They are connected with one of the most liquid exchanges. So might not be that the whole world will be able to cash out, but trust me, at $1,000 per XRP, you will not cash out 25,000 XRP. You will maybe cash out 5,000 XRP or something, then buy a nice house or so. I mean, Jeff Bezos also doesn't sell like 100% of his stock. LTC was dead before it was born, Slim Shady. Domination, someone told that to me on Twitter, I think. Could very well be that the XRP is only for small payments and the quarter settler for big payments. However, the XRP will need to be bought anyway on an exchange, and yeah. So if it's quarter settler or XRP, for me that doesn't really make a difference in the price required, because there is so many transactions. And actually, talking about did I lose my thread before? When I don't remember. But talking about the R3 Corda settler, and coming back to this, someone asked me, was this Wicken or something, regarding mass adoption. I mean, if you read, I tweeted a page from the R3 marketplace page where you can filter customers on R3 according to, I don't know, categories, and I filtered financial institutions. And what I saw is like the who is who of RippleNet customers. I mean, I don't want to say it's an accident, or it's not an accident, because I don't think it is. Valve Raymond, I think it's just software. It's just it's not a hardware. This power plug protocol thing, that's just an example to illustrate that a protocol is just a definition of a standard, and if you comply to that standard, everyone adhering to that standard can actually use that, whatever it is, software or hardware. And David Schwartz, I think towards the end of last year, early this year, he told that with the new version of XCurrent 4, they basically changed the methodology of installation of XCurrent, which made the process from migrating from the previous XCurrent users to the new users a pain in the ass. But new customers, they can roll out, like I think this bank, Euro Exim or whatever it's called in England, that, let's call it the first bank using XRP. I think they rolled it out in 3 days for them, because it's rather a small bank, and yeah, it's literally a no-brainer. I mean, 3 days, think about that, that'll be, yeah, I want it too. Hold on. Actually, Gary, but that's just my idea. I will cash out as much as I need for a decent living, and I will cash out, if I will have that money, and I'm really hoping that I will, about 1 million for 10 years I'm thinking to live. So 3 million for about 30 years more to live. And these 3 millions I will then diversify into I will select on a Toro 5 good traders which have a yearly average return of higher than 10%, and then I have a guarantee that that this 3 million will definitely be enough for the rest of my life, even if I spend all the rest of the money. Ralph Raymond, yes, the stuff with SBI, that's really interesting. Yeah. Okay, one last question and then we leave it for today. I will repeat, those of you who have questions maybe I didn't see in the chat, or who have urgent new questions. I think I mostly 99.9% of the questions I get on the comments of my videos. I answer. If I receive compliments, I usually give a heart, a like. Yeah, let's see if there is a, do you own, okay, that's an interesting question as a last question. Do you own a Ledger Nano? No, I don't. And actually, if it was up to me, I recommend Elipal wallet. Let me quickly search Elipal wallet. I think it's double L. Genau. Copy link. I trust. Hold on. I trust the kind of wallet from eToro. Forget the first link, the second link. I was once contacted by ELIPAL if I would like to make some advertising for them. And I told them no, I don't want, because I'm not having financial interests. Maybe I might be doing a video once over like cold wallets and stuff, and I decided not to, because that's something everyone has to know to do his own research. That's really not my strength. However, when I did research upon ELIPAL, I really think it's 100 times better than the Ledger Nano S or whatever. But I trust the wallet from eToro way more, because they hold custody of it, and it's a multi-signature wallet. So basically they cannot send XRP out of that wallet without me, and I cannot send XRP out of that wallet without them, and that way I'm kind of, nothing can happen. Okay, thank you for your time. Today was a bit more talking me about questions than actually having a real discussion. But please feel free to leave me any comment in the comments on that video. It'll usually take about an hour until the live chat is synchronized with the video. I will put 2 links into the description to the link, together with the links I have already. One is the link to these Japanese crypto holding sites, where you can see how many, or what's the percentage of XRP holdings in Japan and other cryptos and stuff. And I will also put a link to that video where I talk about the cash out thing. It's basically a debunk of Galgitron's theory, just for about this argument from Galgitron that there is not enough money in the world, when I basically can prove there is like more than 1,000 times enough money for $100, which basically means if we go to $1,000, then there will also be still enough money, and maybe the price will rise in a few steps, and most who have no clue will sell at $5, $10, $20, $30, $50. So when we finally will reach $500 or $1,000, not many of us will be left anyway. And with that, I wish you a nice week. I actually have an interesting news. One of my followers, who usually does quite motivational comments on some of my videos, with him I will be having a recorded interview, maybe this week, maybe next week. It may take some time to do the edits. I first need to check the technology so that we get it done properly. With that, I leave you alone, and sleep well if you're in Europe, and have a nice day if you're in US or so. Okay, take care.